that small technical snag in the system. I think it's usual in any presentation. Either the projector will not come up or the colors will be horrible on the screen. But anyway, as I been given the topic of talking on packaging, my primary focus is on talking about structural design, and it's more of showing you some pretty pictures and asking you also few questions so that that things can be more interactive. Being a Saturday evening and after lunch, I think the whole situation is not good to listen to a lot of lectures and some text on the screen. So that's the reason I thought put some pretty pictures. At least it will make you a little lively and alive. So as I said, my primary focus would be on packaging. So just to understand, what you really know by packaging, if you really start thinking about what could be the simplest form of packaging, what is the best example that you can give me? Anyone? Good. Anybody else? So that's exactly the packaging was quite simple and it was quite natural and everybody knew that it's a good way of packaging things, and nature gave us a lot of examples of such packaging. But slowly what happened, this could not survive the various requirements that we have in terms of either branding it or transporting it, etc., etc. But nevertheless, bananas are also branded as such, and Chiquita is one of great examples how banana has been branded. Then things become quite complex. So we invented a lot of technologies of making different ways of making packaging, printing, texturing, and coloring, and all that. And in some cases, I think we had a lot of inspiration from natural things and tried to see how it can be adapted to packaging through mere graphics. It's a good example of the banana which has been manifested in the form of a Tetra Pak. I'm not going to talk too much on this because I think most of these topics have been touched over in the past presentations, but still to freshen up a few of the main important aspects of packaging. The packaging has to do its job. Primarily, obviously it has to preserve the product which is within, but beyond that, I think at a more, primary level, it has to withstand and preserve the brand itself and its heritage. So packaging slowly starts becoming iconic after a while, its existence in the market. And a lot of things have a kind of a belief. If somebody says it's a authentic traditional product, so packaging has to reflect those values through the right form and shape and graphics and information which goes on it. And obviously it has to perform. If people have transformed the way how certain products look in terms of either it could be a simple mineral water. Now it has, people have taken to the next level of making it look more premium. So the packaging is the only way how it can make it and feel premium, and the consumers would perceive it that way. And of course it has to promote the brand itself. So a lot of examples of especially in the premium segment, alcohols or perfumes, you find these kind of good examples where it is only the packaging which has brought in the life into the brand. Having said all this, if I take the simplest example of how packaging, how design has been really conceived in packaging, one of the good example that comes to my mind is everyone has seen this pack. It's quite common, be it beer bottles or it could be carbonated beverages. This is the simplest form of packaging that you can see. But just imagine the kind of convenience or the inconvenience it has. You obviously require an opener, and many a times you don't find them. So what do you do finally? You find all the different ways of opening it. But is there a design solution to this? Of course. This is what these guys did. So this is a kind of solution that you can offer through design to a very mundane and known problems which existed for years together. But you might question why this is still not become popular in all the products which has such kind of packs. I think there are several reasons for it, but I think what my emphasis is, design can offer great solutions if you think a little bit into it and see how we can transform the entire system of looking at it and offering an innovative solution. And many of the cases what happens is the pack talks a lot about the content and probably it also gives a feel of what the product is about. But when it comes to the usage, etc., unless it is designed to be more intuitive, the pack becomes so difficult. People will struggle to really understand how to open this pack. Probably they'll find some innovative ways of opening the pack itself. So although we say that we have done enough advancements and things like that in packaging, but I think there are real issues which are still associated with the packaging. Other good example I can give you is the simple small sachet that you get for one wash of your hair. How difficult it is to open. By graphics, we probably put a small icon saying that you need to use a scissor. In most of the cases, you don't find a scissor in a bathroom. So finally, you end up tearing it up, and probably taste a little bit of shampoo also. Okay. So these are the real examples in real life where there is a real need to understand and offer clever design solutions to problems that persisted for a long time. So if you really see the retail shelf, there are a lot of products, and consumer has a huge choice of selecting various products, various brands, and everybody talks of different benefits, etc. So what does the consumer really look? She looks or he looks at a lot of things. It's not just about the product. He looks at probably the convenience of usage, the cost factor of it, and nowadays people started talking about sustainability. So people have slowly become aware of how it's influencing or really destroying the environment. So is there a real way that design can bring in these aspects into the packaging itself? So when we have such a huge set of questions, if I really put into a simple format of what a packaging in terms of design terms really mean, most of the times we know that packaging is all about aesthetics. In design terms, it could be termed as form. But is it all form? But no, it has also serve function. Now, if you see the examples I have put there, how nicely certain forms and functions have been nicely married together. The Persil pack that you see is a nice shape. It has got a real shelf value. It has a dosing cup which resembles a head of a figure there, and there's a handle which is like one of the hands, and there's a pourer which is or the spout which is the other hand. So it's nicely married and integrated into a nice form. But as consumers are progressing, people also started talking about sensorial aspects of design. For example, many of the times we tend to every consumer tend to smell a soap before using it. Is it not? But does the soap pack give you that real the option of really smelling it? It's not open. It's only probably certain fragrances that leak outside the pack. Probably you will be able to really smell. For example, the other example is shampoo. Many of the times we have a tendency to open the thing and smell it. And now people have come with nice ideas of giving a sniffing strip of label on the pack. So things are becoming more sensorial, and as I said, now sustainability has become an important aspect. So as I see, the triangle is not going to remain as a triangle. Slowly there are a lot of facets which are going to add to it. Probably at some point of time you will find a complete circle. That means probably you will go back to the banana. Not stay with the packaging that you're talking about now. So what I feel is design is nothing but art and a combination of art and engineering. There's a huge creativity aspect that is done by the designer, needs to be manifested in some form through engineering. And there is a need that, so I put few examples of nice packaging. For example, in one of those vodka bottle, people have introduced electronics into it. So it's supposed to give, illuminate when you touch and express some messages on the bottle. So is that a real need? But probably it would be supported with a lot of consumer insights, etc., etc. But things are transforming to that extent. It's not just limited to now mechanical engineering working on the engineering bit of it. It's also electronics which is getting into packaging. So I feel design is nothing but you need to work with a lot of stakeholders together. You need to work with the brand, the designer, the converters, and of course the consumers. So coming back to the innovation bit of it, which I mentioned. So to innovate, there is always a context. So you can pick any product in the current shelf or in the current scenario and find out, is there an opportunity to innovate in a product? For example, this bottle itself, is there an opportunity to do an innovation? So this context could be the mere affordability factor itself. I've given one of the examples which is not really packaging related, but it's a nice example. Since we worked on this project, I thought it's quite relevant. Affordability became an important aspect. When we worked on this particular, this is a Purette water purifier by Unilever's. And at this point of time, the only purifier that was available was UV based, and other, whatever was existing, which could be addressed to the mass market was only a candle filter, and it's not a real purifier. So at that point of time, Unilever had a patented technology of water purification, but wanted to really convert into a product format which can compete with the various products that were available. Plus, our main target was to address the mass, where you have issues on availability of running water, electricity, etc., etc. So our whole aim was to deliver this product at a mere 1,000 rupees, which was kind of a affordability thing that we really thought where we can attract a lot of this consumers from the mass. And this was successfully launched, and this was the first product in the market which never used any form of electricity or need for running water, and directly competed with all the other premium and water purifiers. Yeah. It could be a dire need. The example what I've given is everybody remembers this particular format of soda, and soon it is going to be a kind of antique packaging format, because most of them have shifted to either PET or some other formats, and it has evolved so much that we have got into different kind of shapes and forms for this particular product. It could be the change in time, the kind of influence that you have. Like I said, talked about electronics. I give an example of Heineken again. Here the reference of Heineken example is little different. Here they really thought of connecting various users or the consumers in a pub through electronics. So during this launch, this product has a small electronics component which is built into it, and when the DJ actually plays the music, each of this start illuminating and at a different levels, and there's a kind of connect that happens between everybody who are existing, who are present inside the pub. So it's an interesting way of building that interactivity in the packaging. So the real reason for what hinders us from thinking of innovation is nothing but we always tend to think along a known path. So it's very necessary. I'll not ask this question because I'll directly go to the answer, because everybody knows that the watermelon is not just of this shape. And in fact, in yesterday's paper, I think there is a good article on a muskmelon in Japan, where people wouldn't mind paying a high value to a perfectly formed muskmelon. It has a packaging connotation because it is easy. It's a efficient way of stacking the product, less space wasted. Yeah. So, can you guess what product is this? That's so obvious. Why is it packed that way? It's a climbing shoe. See, the best way, the simple solution they have really thought of pasting the shoe onto the lid. So every innovation need not be so sophisticated and complicated. It can be as simple as this. So few of the examples that I have, this is one of the product that we designed for GSK. And again, there is the product related, the packaging related the product for which it was made, and this was for preschool kids. So it's supposed to improve the brain, memory and growth, etc. So it very nicely gelled with the overall form because lion is supposed to be aspirational, icon or animal, and elephant is supposed to have a strong memory. So that's how we related to the product it has. And it had a lot of challenges in decorating it through shrink sleeving. But I think it was a challenge that we resolved and was successfully launched in the market. So other examples of building intelligence into the product. A simple product like towel can become more interesting. It has got a dispensing shutter which has a tactile feel. So when you open the shutter, it actually gives you a click feel. That means it gives assurance to the consumer saying that the fragrance which is within has been not tampered and is fresh. So a lot of other products, simple things. This is a small pack that we designed for Ayurvedic product, and the beauty of this is it has got a small dispenser where only one tablet is, but I cannot just stop abruptly. So it can dispense one capsule at a time. It's a inbuilt problem of all these packs where when you dispense, so many tablets get into your hand, and if you want to keep it back, you tend to contaminate the tablet. So this gives you an option where only one tablet at a time dispenses out. So a lot of other examples where experience has been built. This is a typical scenario of India where we buy tea, put into a pack, in a different pack, because as such pillow packs or cartons are not susceptible for longer usage in the kitchen. So what it does is a small intelligence that we have built within, it has got a spring-loaded cap, and when the consumer just presses it, the cap opens with a pop kind of a sound. It gives a very good feedback and a reassurance to the consumer that it is airtight and the aroma, etc. of that tea is nicely packed and intact. So put in short, you can convert ordinary, commodity into a real visual treat with, nice packaging and the graphics put together. So a few of the examples of other work that we have done. Before I end, I thought, I'll expose to one example. I've been showing this in several presentations. I didn't get a real good example which is quite, equivalent to this. So everybody knows how milk packaging was done. Initially there was a tendency of you going to the cow or cow coming to your house, and then you take your own vessel and get the milk. Then it progressed. Then we had introduced glass bottles. Then we had pouches. Then we had Tetra packs. Every format of packaging that we really tried for other categories has been tried out in milk packaging. Then we had bigger cans. Then we had aluminum cans. So now it has stopped. For a long while, I have not seen much of change that is happening in this industry. The only way option that I feel is probably we'll go back to this situation, because all the roads for new formats of packaging in this category has almost exhausted. one last example of, I just wanted to highlight that every design, when you do, it doesn't mean that it's always a success. This is a good example, a product which is quite known and a known brand. So the basic fault with this design was there's a small spout, and the kids, it's a kind of a sipper, and when the kid actually sipped it, that thing actually came out and got into the throat. So you can imagine, even after all this process that we follow of consumer testing, insights, this, that, etc., you will end up with this kind of a shock. And that too with such a big brand. So we need to be a little careful when we play with all these innovations. Is it really required for this category or not? And if it's required, better do it right and launch it in a proper way. So don't forget, everything that we do is finally for consumers and the people. So it has to be. And one last appeal, since we are talking about packaging all the time, there's a lot of these situations arise, we see everywhere. So let us be very, sensible about the way how we use packaging, and what we do should also do is also think how these things will be disposed eventually. Thank you.